Hey, this is Frida and Brittany from The Thrivers, and today we're going to share with you a book that we read this year that really changed our lives. So just a couple of concepts from the book, and that book is called The Queen's Code by Alison Armstrong, and the book is all about celebrating differences between men and women. And I'm not proud of it. In the past, I viewed men as insensitive, arrogant, and competitive, and I realized that I was actually comparing them to other women rather than trying to understand them as they are. And the changes that I've noticed is that I'm appreciated by men more, and like great men. And I'm appreciated, admired, cared for by men in a way that I just haven't experienced before. And that's, I noticed, is because of just having the behaviors that can bring the best out of men rather than the worst, which, if I'm honest, I was doing a lot of that stuff. So the book also introduces the whole idea of frog farming. And frog farming is essentially just turning a good man into a not so great man, and the behaviors that come with that are what Alison talks about in the book. And I'll leave it to Brittany to talk about one of the key concepts.
One of the biggest parts of the book is regarding power, and about how men and women try and take power from one another. And one of the core tenets of the book is just recognizing that men cherish and love and want to be around women and want to provide for them and to protect them. And women want to be provided for and want to be protected. So just let's start with something very hopeful. This could work. This could really work. This whole man and woman thing. And so women are just naturally smaller and weaker than men, and it's one of our initial instincts, just a very jarring thing, that we want to take power away from men when we see them being powerful. And one of the ways that we do that is by emasculating them, and in return, men objectify women by taking their power away. And objectification is just turning a multi-dimensional, complex human being down to a thing. Like, for example, a child that's upset about something, probably very validly, we'll call a brat. So we're taking a very multi-dimensional human being and turning it into a thing. And so men will take a woman who is emasculating him and objectify her, and it just goes around and around and taking power from one another. But the reality of the situation is you will either both be powerful or powerless. There's no one person winning that vicious cycle. So thing number one, let men protect you and provide for you. And because they are single-focused, which Frida is going to talk about in a second, men cannot do two things really well at once. They're really focused on one thing, which means that if they are too busy protecting themselves against you, they cannot protect you. If they are too busy competing against you, they cannot cherish you. Concept number one.
All right, so then the second one is around the differences, just understanding the differences between men and women, and just really understanding that men are single-minded, and that just means they just focus on one thing at a time, and whereas women have got a diffused awareness where we can have a lot of things going on in our minds at the same time. And just understanding that, an example I can give about that with a friend of mine is we'd agreed to leave this co-working space together, and he totally forgot, and he left without me, and he was so apologetic about it. He came back to get me so we can then go back and leave together. And it's almost like the look on his face is like he was waiting for me to say how disappointed I was, but he had such big goals to hit in his business that I was just I totally understand, your mind was just there, and that's totally okay. And he gave me the biggest hug and was just so happy that I did not give him a hard time. And that's what a lot of women do when we don't understand. We then punish them, give them a hard time for something like that, rather than just being like, hey, I totally understand it. And then the other thing is that men are internally motivated, and women are externally motivated. And what that means is that men are into pleasing themselves and women are into pleasing other people. So more like, so it's just understanding some of the motivations between the two. And that's it. So those are the two main concepts that we want to introduce. There's so many inside of the book. We've read it once, we made notes, we want to read it again and again. You can take a lot from that book. I highly recommend every single woman reads that book. All right, guys. We'll see you soon on the next video. Bye.